Hey everybody, it's time for an update video for the channel. And why am I doing this? I feel like Russ Lyman. Hey guys, Mike Dendo here. I'm getting super energetic to talk to you like Russ would. So today I've got a lot of stuff to share with you. I'm going to be recapping my recent trip to Colorado. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the channel, some kind of monumental stuff that I did for the past few months, where the channel is going in the future of Dude You Haven't Played This Game. I'm also going to showcase some pickups. It's going to be a jam-packed video, and on top of that I'm going to do a shout out. So stay tuned to the entire video because there's a lot to cover today. I'll try to get through it as quick as possible. So let's start with where the channel has been for the past few, I guess, weeks, months. So I've been kind of cranking out a lot of material lately, mostly because I was on paternity leave, which ended last week. So I put out 3 Dude You Haven't Played This games in the past 2 months. The first was the WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game for the PlayStation 1. And that was a lot of fun to do. I went up to Massachusetts and filmed with Evolve Wrestling. So if you're a wrestling fan, I think you'll really dig it. Even if you're not, it's still a pretty top-notch episode. I had a lot of fun with it. And it was actually a Patreon-supported episode, which means that the Patreon picked the episode, and he actually helped out with the episode. His name's Trevin. And he's a really great guy, so I really appreciate his, kind of stepping up and being like, hey, I have a really good idea for an episode. You should do this. And then we kind of worked together. It was definitely a different episode than I usually do, because I usually work off of scripts, but for that, we kind of worked with a rough outline of what we wanted to do and just let the wrestlers run with it. So it's a lot of fun, really cool stuff, so check that out. Again, links will all be down below, and maybe cards will be popping up here and there. So after that, I put out a Halloween episode. It's like a part 1 Halloween episode, and that was Monster House, and that was on the Game Boy Advance. It's kind of like Zelda meets, top-down Zelda meets Resident Evil. So it's a really cool game, a totally hidden, underrated gem, in my opinion. And my buddy Russ Lyman joined me on that episode, speaking of Russ. And he helped out quite a bit. While he was over, we also shot the second part Halloween episode, which was a little different for me. It's kind of a passion project, The Legacy of Sonia Belmont. So it's kind of like a review and a documentary kind of mixed together. What I did was I took a look at Castlevania Legends and basically did my normal review type stuff. And then to follow it up in that same video, I did Castlevania Resurrection. And basically looked at the game and kind of tried to piece it together and be like, what would this hit game have been if it had been released? So I also got the music from the actual game, which is featured in the episode. So check that out. I spent a lot of time on that one, and I really thought it came out very well done, in my opinion. And I think you guys will really enjoy it. If you're Castlevania fans, you'll really enjoy it. But yeah, so that's the 3 Dude You Haven't Played This games that came out. We also did 3 episodes of XVGM Radio in just October. So the first was a tribute episode to Ryu Umamoto, a composer who passed away in 2011, I believe. That was episode 9, and then we did episode 10, which was featuring Avalanche Reviews, my good buddy Jared, who I'll be talking a little bit about regarding my Colorado trip. And for that episode, episode 10, we did survival horror games, and basically the video game music in survival horror games, so that was a lot of fun to do. And we finished up Halloween with a spooky fest, kind of like you know how radio stations will do those live shows where they have concerts. We kind of modeled it after that instead of going the traditional spooky tunes route that I did with Pixel Tunes. A couple other things that kind of came out. Retro World Expo, I put out some videos for. A very popular video, which was a rant video, which, to be honest, I'm gonna be straying away from doing those for the most part going forward. So if you're here for the rants, I'm sorry, but I'm really trying to focus on higher quality content, stuff that takes me 5 minutes to just push out. That even though it gets the views, it just feels cheap to me. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it is what it is. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about where the channel is heading and what's going to be coming in the next year. So at this point I don't have any new episodes planned except for one, and that one is going to most likely debut in May. It is something that was supposed to come out this past May as part of the Metal May feature, and I'm at the point where I really wanted to send a specific message home about this review. It's very crucial that I put it out in May. I can't really give much more away, just because if I do, I'm going to give you away like what I'm planning. But I know it's a long wait, but hear me out. Just hear me out. Don't change the channel yet. So that's the only episode that I've like pretty much got in the can. I need to rewrite it and retune the script and everything. A lot of this information already came out on the Patreon. I already talked about a lot of this in a recent update. I'm going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus when it comes to reviews, specifically due to you haven't played this game. You know, I've been doing this show for close to 7 years. It'll be the 7th year coming up this January, February. There's like 70 something episodes that are out, so in case you missed anything, you can always go back and watch. And you know, I'm really happy with the way that the channel has grown, but it takes a lot out of you. When you do a review like that, really any of the stuff that I've been doing, especially lately, I've been really sinking a lot of time into reviews. The reviews can take anywhere between 30 to 40 hours minimum to do, and obviously you all know that I recently had a daughter, and that obviously takes precedence. Family life takes precedence, and it doesn't mean I'm going to stop. I have no intentions to fully stop. My creativity yearns to be fulfilled with reviews, and it's a bit cathartic, but the problem is that I burn myself out a little bit. Especially in the month of Halloween, like October. I always do it. I always burn myself out, almost always. This year, I thought I was ahead of the game. The Monster House review was pretty much in the can. And then I got this bright idea to come out with this Castlevania Legends and Resurrection video on the day that, either on the day or just before the day of Castlevania Requiem coming out, as well as the second season of Castlevania on Netflix, which I'll talk about in another video. I would like to talk about it, but that's for another video. So yeah, I burned myself out a little bit. I just kind of need to take a step back, and you know, part of the problem is when you're reviewing games on a monthly basis in this context, it does take a lot of time, but also you're not playing anything else for fun. And you kind of forget that video games are for fun. And when you review something, you have to take an analytical look at it. You can't just sit down and play a game and whatever. Like, you really have to take an analytical look. You have to figure out where you can make jokes, what you can talk about in the review. And honestly, with games, like, I like to just shut my brain off and just relax. So the plan is I'm going on a hiatus until January, at which point I'll probably start working on something for February-ish. Now, if my creative juices get a little flowing a little bit earlier, gross. If they get flowing a little bit earlier, I'll, of course, you know, change my mind and put something out. But at this point in time, probably not going to be anything coming out before January. In terms of reviews, now, XVGM Radio will still be going strong. We have a lot of really great content planned. We've got episodes planned up until the new year. I think just after the new year as well, we've got one episode planned. So, as well as like some Patreon related stuff for our XVGM Radio Patreon. So, a lot of really cool stuff coming for that. So if you are a fan of the podcast, don't worry. Regularly scheduled podcasts will be continuing to come out every other week. Now, I've got some other videos planned, and one is a gaming linguistics episode, and that one's pretty much done. It just needs to be edited. I've also got a video coming out that is going to be like an unboxing. It's the unboxing of the last North American Game Boy Advance game that ever came out, which was Samurai Deeper Kyo. based on the anime. I've got some other stuff kind of like noodling around in the back of my head that I want to do. There's some video collaborations that I've been wanting to do for a while as well. So I'm going to be, you know, kind of working silently on all that stuff. So, yeah. I'll see you in the new year when it comes to reviews. If you're only come here for reviews, I'll see you in 2019. But otherwise, you know, there's going to be content on the channel, so don't worry. You'll be seeing my face around. And plus we got streams too. I wanted to talk about the Patreon real quick. I know, don't change the channel just yet. We got other stuff to talk about. The Patreon has gone through a redesign, and I've retooled and added some new features which I think everybody will really enjoy. So now everything is based on like Castlevania theme. So it's like whip themed. So what I did was I took the whips from like Castlevania 2 and some of the other whips from some of the other games, and I've put them up as like tiers. So like leather whip tier and chain whip tier and Morningstar tier. And so you'll see it as you go on. So you know, I don't like pimping this like every single time I put out a video. So I'm just gonna mention it at this point in time. It's patreon.com/dongled. You can check it out again in the description below. Any money that you can donate would be awesome. I've added some new rewards, I've changed some around, and I've added some additional things. So if you are a Patreon subscriber already, take a look and go back, because you may have some surprises waiting for you in the near future. So that is what's going on with the Patreon. Now with that said, I'm also going to be doing streams. Every Monday I'm going to try to stream, tentatively. You know, life gets in the way, so sometimes I may not be able to, but I'm going to be splitting up the streams partially on Twitter, where I'll throw out a poll on Twitter. You can follow me at DYHPTG, which is the handle name for Dude You Haven't Played This Game, the letters. And I'm going to be posting pretty much like every other week. I'm going to be posting like Sunday-ish, you know, a couple games that I would like to personally play, and you know, you guys will tell me what you want me to play. Patreon's going to have their own separate voting thing, and then every other week I'll be doing a patron stream for that. So if you wanted to vote on a game, I think this week's coming up is going to be, I think it's Soul Calibur. I think it's the first Soul Calibur actually, but I'm not sure. So you have the power to change the vote. I think voting's going to close that Sunday. So, you know, if you haven't already and you are a patron, go vote for that. It's the latest post on the page there on the Patreon. What else is going on? So I went to Colorado fairly recently for a multi-tapped reunion. Basically got together with a bunch of my buddies who also do the YouTube thing, and I had a blast. I hung out with Nefarious Wes and Lucius Showcase, or Lucius T as he's also known, and you know, it's like hanging out with your friends that you've, you know, been hanging out with for so long. Like, it wasn't weird or anything meeting these guys for the first time. It was super cool. Wes filmed like almost everything, so there's going to be a video that is going to be on his channel. When he does eventually post it, I'll come back here and I'll post a link to it, so, you know, if you don't follow Wes's channel, you can find it here. Also, pretty much the reason why we were there was because we were there for our friend Donovan's wedding. And him and his now wife Katie got married, and it was a great ceremony. It was a lot of fun. I hung out with Avalanche Jared, and also hung out with Dubious Gaming and Import Gaming for the win, also known as Jimmy Hoppa. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Oh, and also Mile High Gaming Hunters. I met them, and they took us around Colorado along with Wes, and you know, we went game chasing, and I'm gonna kind of show you a little bit of what I got, as well as some mail calls next. So let's just jump right into it. So it's really funny. I went to Colorado and I went game chasing at some amazing stores. One in particular, I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it was phenomenal. I think it was in, and don't quote me on this, but I want to say Boulder, Colorado, maybe. And the selection was insane. I've never seen that many strategy guides, first and foremost, and you guys know I'm a big strategy guide fan. Tons and tons of games, import stuff, just like anything you wanted, they had it pretty much. So I have such a big collection already that it really takes a lot for me to be like, I want that, give me that. So the first thing that I bought from them was, there's a little bit of story here, but Super Robot Tyson Endless, I can never remember the name of this, Super Robot Tyson OG Saga Endless Frontier. Now this is the case and the manual. That's it. I already had the game loose. I bought it from GameStop on a whim, hoping that they would send me the complete copy. I rolled the dice and I lost. So I paid about 20 bucks for the game, 20, 30 I think. And then I bought this for 35. A regular complete in-box copy of this goes for about 65, so I paid pretty much what it's worth. It's the only DS game that I owned that wasn't complete in box, so I really am glad I was finally able to do it. They were nice enough to you know, split it up for me. I told him, I was like, I have the game in the car, I could show you, I really need the box and manual, and the guy was like, yeah, sure, no problem. So, it was really cool. The second thing I got from that store was a strategy guide, Maximo, which I just recently played on the stream. This was $5, and the really cool thing about it is it's complete. The whole guide is complete. It's like brand new. And it's a really cool guide, but it comes with like a tips and tricks thing, but then it also comes, as strategy guides do, with a poster. And this is a very cool waifu-tastic poster. The artist that did this game, both Maximo games, his style is, I can't remember the name of the artist, but he did the art for a lot of Hudson Soft games, specifically the Adventure Island series. So there is the poster. Really cool stuff. So I'll have to hang this up at some point. It's a nice little poster. So that's what I got from that store. I really didn't shop a lot while I was in Colorado. Money was a little tight, obviously. So those are the only two things that I bought as far as games go. So I didn't even get a game. They actually had, another store had Maximo Army of Zin. They wouldn't come down on the price was a little high. Oh well, you know, no big deal. The next thing I'm going to show you, I got for free, and it's from my buddy Jimmy Hoppa, Import Gaming for the Win. He gave me this when I met him, which is really cool. It's a Metroid manga from Japan. And it's in Japanese, unfortunately, but it's just really cool to have. You know, add to my Metroid shrine, so thanks, Jimmy. Now, when I came back, I had mail calls, which was really cool. So, I did end up getting one game out of all this, and it's Psy Girls for the PlayStation 2. I had a coupon on eBay, so I paid like $5 for it, which is pretty good. It is complete. The only thing I'll say is that the case is not the right case, I don't believe. But it is complete. It's like a 2-disc game. And it's a Konami game, you know, kind of like a action game. I don't know. I'm going to check it out. I may review it. Who knows? The next thing I got, I had to take advantage of this because it did pop up. I got the soundtrack in vinyl for Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. And this is super cool. If you open it up, it's got the map. And I love that art. Really cool stuff. And the record as well, which I'll take out, is my favorite color, which is green. Look at that, huh? So what's cool about this is that it's got the NES version on one side, and the Famicom Disk System version on the other, which, you know, Famicom Disk System version's not that great, but this was just really cool to own. I don't actually own a record player. I'm going to have to look into getting one in the near future. But I'm just happy to own it. It's a neat little thing. So it popped up on my feed that they were re-releasing this, and I missed out on it. It was really hard to get initially. It's from Mondo. So I want to go back and get some of the other records. Like they had a Symphony of the Night, they had Super Castlevania 4. So I'd like to own, you know, pretty much all the Castlevanias just because I'm a huge collector of Castlevania stuff. Speaking of which, they also had this really sweet pin, which it's just the Castlevania logo, but I wanted to keep it in the plastic because it says the little push start key thing, so I thought that was pretty cool. So what else did I get? Well, this is probably one of the coolest things I've gotten, and I'm going to frame this. An artist who did video game cover art. His name is Mike Winterbauer, and I talked a little bit about him in my Power Blade review, about like the Arnold Schwarzenegger look-alike art. And on his Twitter, he recently posted like some art that he was selling, and I was like, dude, I would love to get like Power Blade, like if you are doing prints of that. And he said, yeah, they're coming soon. So I'm a little disappointed in the size, just because I would like something bigger. He did actually, I guess, redraw it, and like I guess he has the redrawn version for like $200 something, which I just simply couldn't afford. But this was the next best thing. This was 10 bucks. It's a 6x10 art print of the first Power Blade game's art cover, which is really, really cool. I'm gonna definitely get this framed. He signed it right before he sent it out, and he included a letter too, which was really cool. He said, "Hi Michael, thanks for getting this cool signed Power Blade print. I know you will enjoy it. Sincerely, Mike Winterbauer." So I'm gonna frame this and keep the letter with it, just so you know it stays safe. But yeah, I'd love to get like a full-size print of that. That'd be so cool to, like, you know, put up on my wall. So you know, maybe one of these days I can afford something that awesome. But yeah, I think he's still selling these prints, a couple of them at least. If not, go follow him on Twitter and you could find his eBay page. I'll post the link down below so you have it. So that's about it. So, you know, that was pickups. The Colorado trip was fantastic. I had a lot of fun doing it, so it was a great time. Other than that, I wanted to give a shout out. So thanks for sticking with me if you've lasted till the end of this. When I went to Retro World Expo, I met a guy, and his channel is fantastic. It's called The Renaissance. And what this guy does is he does paintings, and the paintings are inspired by locations in video games. So for example, he'll do like the front gates of the first Castlevania when, like, you know, Simon, you know, gets there. So he does stuff like that. It's really, really cool stuff. I definitely recommend checking out his channel. He also does streams, and his streams are really entertaining. I actually caught one of them where he was doing Faxanadu with Hungry Goraya, who's another YouTuber you should check out. And it was really cool. It was cool to watch him play it, especially like after I reviewed it. I was kind of like watching his stuff, you know, watching him play it, and I'm like, oh man, this like really brings back memories. So go check out The Renaissance's channel, give him a subscribe, and make sure to actually watch his content. Don't just subscribe and watch. So that is it, and he's got right now about 350 something subscribers. So, you know, anything that you guys can do to help out, you know, boost those numbers, you know. We all need a little helping hand now and then. People have done it for me, so I'm trying to give back to the community for YouTubers who are under 1,000 subs. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much for staying tuned to this very long-winded but very lengthy fall to winter update for 2018. Let me know what you guys think of this video. You know, anything that you want to comment on, the trip, the pickups, the Renaissance, anything and everything. The delay in the Dude You Haven't Played This Game, the XVGM radio, the gaming linguistics, whatever you want to talk about, leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching.